Big NDTV Profit exclusive. We've been talking in detail about what has happened in the monetary policy, and one of the things that has happened in the monetary policy and seemed to have a huge reprieve for IndusInd Bank is the RBI governor coming and saying that he's not too worried about the health of the bank because individual issues are being sorted. In fact, I just want to pull up where the IndusInd stock ended on Friday, because that was a big shot in the arm. Now, we are learning that's not necessarily the last of the story that we've heard on IndusInd Bank. The stock closed about 2.5% up. From both angles, from SEBI and from Reserve Bank of India, there is more to go in terms of investigations. In fact, Charu is joining us with more details on what SEBI is looking at going forward on IndusInd Bank. Yes, Charu.
Hi, so the market regulator, Securities and Exchange Board of India is currently conducting several, investigations and cases against the bank. Now, we already know that the insider trading order, the temporary order is already out. However, several other departments of the regulator is looking into violations of several different norms. For example, corporate governance issues, disclosure norms, and several other things as well. As we know already, since that a lot of investigations are going on, different departments of the regulator are also involved. That means that the Corporate Finance Investigation Department, that CFID, as well as CFD, Corporate Finance Department, both of them are also looking and probing around the issues at the bank. Apart from this, we must also consider the fact that the confirmatory order regarding the insider trading violations can come out in the coming month or so. However, different other orders regarding several smaller violations could be coming out in the coming weeks to 1 month's time. The probe, as we know, currently began on the basis of data points and sequence of events in its very initial nascent stages. However, it is now moving into far deeper issues, and what we can look into or expect from these coming orders and directives that might come from the Securities and Exchange Board of India is that more bars on holding positions or trading in securities market is something that something of a direction that could come. Talking about the quantum of the issue, this is something that cannot be determined again at this stage because it is a nascent stage and more issues are being uncovered as we speak. So let's see how it rolls out in the coming month.
That's leg one. So more trouble for IndusInd Bank in terms of what SEBI comes up with. They're not done yet. That's what we're hearing. But even from the Reserve Bank of India perspective, and Vishwanath Nair now with us here, our banking editor. Vishy, it seemed from what the governor said on Friday that the central bank is not too worried about what's been going on with IndusInd Bank.
Right. So what the RBI governor pointed to was a systemic issue, right? Will IndusInd Bank fail, or are there serious concerns to the broader system because of that? So those he's set aside, and he said that you don't need to worry about those problems at all. However, the individual supervisory issues at IndusInd Bank are still part of the RBI's supervisory outlook, and that they are not done with investigating those issues. So specifically, what we understand from sources is that the RBI is not yet done on deciding on the culpability of the board itself. So far, what has happened is SEBI pushed out an interim order last month where it said that a board note was floated to appoint KPMG to investigate whatever derivatives issued back in January or February of 2024. So that would point to the fact that the board already knew at least a year and a half before the bank came out and disclosed everything to the public. The board knew what was happening. Later on, actually Friday evening, SEBI issued a corrigendum on this interim order, and they said that we are replacing that board note reference with an engagement note reference, because that note was actually signed by the CFO, the CEO, and the deputy CEO, so the board was actually kept in the dark. And that's when my sources got active, and they told us that, listen, we are not yet done deciding on whether the board is in the problems at this point in time. What we find is that an investigation is ongoing from the regulators' end, and that any action from the RBI will actually follow whatever SEBI's investigation points to. Once that is done, then maybe the RBI will step in. And if the RBI finds that the board knew things and was not acting appropriately, then it will take appropriate action against the board. That is clear. What the RBI is also pointing out is that at this stage, they don't feel the need to appoint an additional director on IndusInd Bank's board, simply because they do this only when they have limited visibility into the board's activities when a major transition like this is undergoing. In IndusInd Bank's case, that visibility issue isn't there, so the RBI probably does not need to appoint an additional director. Having said that, they have not yet passed any judgment because they have not yet even gone through the Grant Thornton report that was submitted to the board back in April. So once the RBI goes through that and finds issues, then it will take appropriate action. People are not going to be let go scot-free. That is essentially what sources are telling us about the RBI. Systemic issue, nil. But specific bank-led issues, yes, they're still being dealt with.
So just to drive home that point from the perspective of any investors currently in IndusInd Bank, what does this mean for the bank per se? In that, so just reading from the fact that the Reserve Bank of India is not at this point thinking of putting a director on the bank. So, but there's still that gulf. There's still a vacuum that needs to be filled. Yeah,
so the CEO needs to be appointed. Essentially, June 30 is the deadline by the time which the board has to send out names. They've not done anything on that front. We are now on the 9th of June. They have about 20 odd days to actually submit that name. According to my sources, the RBI has not yet heard on even potentials so far. They are actually expecting it only in the last week of June. That anything comes, because no matter how much time you give to a regulated entity, they will only come at the midnight hour to come and submit their recommendations.
Homework is always submitted right in the end.
Yeah.
I think from the investor's point of view, would be fair to say that concern with the bank and the and the stock price might not see too much of a hit, because you're expecting a cleanup, you're expecting worse is over, new team will come and will clean things up, and systemically nothing wrong.
Yeah.
The other part is going after people who.
The fact is that neither the RBI nor the bank has taken any action against the CEO and the deputy CEO, even though there are enough instances of them having acted in bad faith that have come to light since their exit. So that is going to be the key issue. What exactly is the regulator going to do? What exactly is the board going to do? The options in front of them is recovering whatever money from them individually, right? So SEBI said insider trading, whatever you've earned, you have to give that back. As far as the RBI and the board is concerned, they can actually claw back any ESOPs or any kind of specific bonuses that were passed during Sumant Khatpalia's 5-year tenure. Those are things that are available to them.
But not very often that penalties like that are levied. So I guess.
I mean, if the board is, or if the management is found wanting, this happened last, I think, during Chandakucha's time.
Yeah.
Since then, we've not seen major banks.